I'll email you the MP4, or I may have to bring it on a stick if it's too big of a file. Okay, and then you'll have to take it. Okay.
Okay, so my first question is, why did you choose to be a teacher slash counselor at Palmetto?
Okay. I was a teacher way, 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 way back in 1976. Okay. That's a long time ago, I know. And then I came out of teaching for 2 or 3 years. And then I decided I missed the kids so much. So that was back in Philadelphia. And then I taught from 76 to 79. And then I sold from 79 to 82. And in 82, we moved to Florida, and I decided I really wanted to go become a teacher again. Back then, I loved working with at-risk kids because I know I don't look it, but I was an inner city boy. I grew up in a very low-income neighborhood in Philadelphia. So I wanted to work with the kids like that sort of were the ones I went to school with. I'm trying to tell you this as fast as I can. So, but I was an inner city teacher. So originally I taught history, and then I taught ESOL and in alternative education. So I'd worked with all the kids who got thrown out of the Dade County schools, and I worked at a school called J.R.E. Lee Opportunity. Okay, and I did that till 1995. And in 1995, I went to South Dade for 6 years as a counselor. The reason I became a counselor was the counselor at J.R.E. Lee kept calling in sick all the time. And the kids all came to me because, I don't know, I had this natural ability. The kids wanted to talk to me. I don't know why, but they did. And so the principal just says, will you cover for her? And I covered for her, and then I went back and took my classes. So I actually was a counselor before I got certified. And then I got certified later on. Should I keep going real fast so that way you'll just be able to do it? Then I was in charge of South Dade's guidance department. And then I came, and I really always, and I was telling Samantha this earlier, every time I drove down 77th Avenue, I kept saying, why didn't I get a job at Palmetto? Why didn't I get a job at Palmetto? And then eventually the job opened up like in 2002 or 2003, and I was hired. I transferred over to Palmetto, and I had the letters A, B, C, D. And that's how I started counseling. Okay, that's my quick history.
Okay, so what was your favorite part of your job?
Okay, I have to separate those two because part of I loved when I was a counselor graduating kids, especially kids who barely graduated, and yet you went to the last minute. It was almost like a little bit of a rush trying to get them to graduate, and they're panicking. There's a sort of like a thrill to letting that kid be successful. And when they walk across the stage, they're crying, and they're because they overcame something usually. There is nothing like watching a kid graduate who struggled. As a college counselor, one of the most powerful things is watching a kid make a decision on which college to go to, because for so long when they're applying, they're trying to figure out who's going to reject them, and to be accepted. And then let's say you get accepted by 2 or 3 schools, and it's now your turn to decide, and they come to ask for help on who to decide what school to go to. It's like super like exciting to watch them make that decision. And then all of a sudden this light bulb goes on, and they decide where they're going to go. And it's like almost like marriage. It's like, I'll marry that one. And that's a really cool thing. And the other thing I love best about the college job is helping kids come up with ideas for essays. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what you want to write about for college. So I guess that's my 2 favorite things. I don't like schedule changes. None of us do. We all hate it. We all hate schedule changes.
I can vouch for that. I asked for like 4 this year. So
yeah, no, my joke used to be we didn't go to college for schedule changes. That we did not, they never taught us a course on how to do schedule changes. And that's what we get stuck doing.
So before you were a counselor, were you a teacher for anything at Palmetto, or did you go straight into counseling?
I came to Palmetto as a counselor. Actually, like I said, I was a department head of, I was in charge of all the counseling at South Dade Senior and back at J.R.E. Lee. I was the head counselor. I didn't want to do that anymore though.
Okay. Are there any specific moments in your career that made you think, this is why I chose this job?
Okay. So going way, way back when I told you I went into sales for 3 years, and I was very, very good at it. And, but like just missing being with kids. I don't have kids, by the way, by choice. And I just missed being around kids. And I just, I love being around other people's kids. And it just was, that was my calling, was I felt like was to help kids. And I know sometimes, yeah, I mean, no, I really felt like that was my calling. It was like to help kids get through I remember how hard it was for me as a teenager. I remember how hard it was, the struggle of going to high school and deciding to go to college or not. It just always was that I wanted to help people get through one of the struggles I did. I also like personal counseling too.
Okay. So what was one of the most difficult things that you have come across when teaching children or being their counselors?
When I work, it's all different kind of things. So when I work with delinquents, obviously it was getting them to try and change their behavior. And if I could get, I have a few, actually I have quite a few I still stay in touch with who actually turned and really became really unbelievable people. One's actually a principal of a high school, but they were my students in Disruptive Kids, watching those kids change. What was the question one more time? Say that, repeat it again.
So what was one of the most difficult things that you have come across when teaching children or being their counselors?
Getting kids to not make bad decisions was probably the hardest thing in the world. I think I said it this morning to Samantha. I said did I say about your moral compass? Did I talk about that? Yeah, maintaining, my joke has always been how many kids go through DARE that end up doing drugs. I always sort of laugh. You know what DARE is, Samantha? Did they have that when you were in school, in elementary?
Isn't it the acronym for don't do drugs? Or
Right,
something?
right. So how many kids were in DARE, and then when they get to high school, their moral compass is sort of goes astray, should we say, and they lose their direction. And if I can get a kid to get back on their direction, whether it's not just for college, but this is for anything in life, just to be able to make the right decisions, or at least when someone when you almost get in trouble and you feel this tap on the shoulder, and it's sort of like up guy upstairs is saying, watch it. And then the next time something comes up, you feel the tap without being tapped and you make a good decision. So I think that is probably one of the things I love watching, when kids make good decisions for themselves. I got to watch one of the kids do it this year. One of our kids up at Syracuse was offered the option, go to a party, this is during COVID, or be bored in the room, in the dorm. And he ended up choosing to stay in the dorm. And meanwhile, in the newspaper that weekend, Syracuse was in the paper and pictures of everybody partying, and he wasn't there. And that was his moral compass being tested. I mean, and there's so many, you guys know what I'm talking about,
Wasn't that Mariano?
Yeah, that was a Mariana story. He called me that next day. He was so proud of himself. And,
yeah, I was like,
he was so upset. He called me. He wanted to go to that party.
yeah. Almost because even at Penn State and UCF or UF, there was a bunch of parties during the beginning, because usually they have a lot of introducing and freshman parties,
right.
So everyone gets to know each other. My sister didn't go to any, and she was she really wanted to, but I persuaded her not to go.
I don't know how you guys are doing it. I don't know what I would have done when I was 17, 18. When I was 10th grade, maybe I was still a little bit of a nerdy enough guy. And I was also a little scared to go outside because of the neighborhood. But when I went to college, I don't know how I would have been if I was put in that same dilemma you guys were put in. This is one of the toughest times I've ever seen in my career, on the decisions we're all making. All of us, not just you guys. It's all, it's my friends, your friends, everybody.
Yeah.
I've seen parties on your street, Samantha. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, there was one on Saturday.
Well, was that one of our seniors you're talking about?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I know. We won't say any names because we're recording. But no, there were some other ones when the pandemic was still really in crisis. I thought it was you had a young couple party with kids running around and playing. We live around the corner from each other. She didn't know that till today.
Yeah.
So, but they were I was watching these people going, "You're crazy." But I don't know what I would have done at that age. It's tough.
Yeah. Okay, so I think
I totally went on. Did I answer the question?
Wait, what?
Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you did. I asked you. Well, yeah, that was my
Yes.
My last question is, why are you choosing to retire this year?
I am not choosing to retire. Besides the fact I'm old. I was 8 years ago, they offered us, there's a deal they offer you where you say you're going to retire in 5 years and they give you this lump sum of money. I would have been 65 at that time. It made sense to do it. And then they offered I really didn't want to retire, but I was going to maybe take a year off and then come back. And then they offered this deal where you could stay another year and that another year and then another year. And the limit is 8. I don't know what I would do if they're not going to, but it's because that's state statute. I have to retire at least for 1 year, but I'll probably stay retired. I probably will. This year, do you think this year is fun? Yeah, I don't think.
Interesting.
It's yeah.
It's, you know what, you're in 10th grade, right, Samantha?
We both are.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
we both are.
guys still have this hope that it's going to change. You know, did I come into your English class last week? Did I pop in either one of your classes? Purse or Polito? I went in Polito and Purse's room only. It's only 2 I got.
I'm in Polito, but you didn't come into my room.
I'm a Gruner, so I couldn't.
No, but okay. So meanwhile, I will be in all your rooms. I'm coming in to pop in your visit, but you guys still have a hope of a future that looks sort of normal. The seniors that went through last year and are now going through their freshman year in college, it can't be fun. I mean, it's not the way it's supposed to be. And the seniors this year have just sort of like, maybe they're hoping we come back. You know, there's a hope, a glimmer, but their college search, the only thing that's still the same is their college search is still very normal. You know, there's not like tomorrow we're doing 350 kids are going to apply to Miami-Dade in 1 day. We do that every year. We're just doing it virtually. So there's still hope, you know, in 10th grade, you guys have to have hope you're going to have a junior, senior year. You know, it's probably going to happen. So, but the answer to your question is, it's just time. I'm 68 years old. My wife is semi-retired. I like to play with her. She's my favorite best friend. How old are you guys?
16.
I met her right after her 16th birthday. So she's like my best friend, and we play. We walk the dogs, exercise, ride our bikes. If you ever ride, Samantha, if you ever hear Justin Timberlake playing on a bicycle, that's me riding, because Justin Timberlake's one of my favorite artists. So
I'll look out for that.
I have a big box on my bike, and I ride around the neighborhood.
My dad does the same.
Well, we're boombox people. I mean, that's so. But I didn't choose to retire. It's just time, and you know, I'll see what happens next year. I'll take some time off and see what happens. So it's not by choice. I probably would. Do not write this. Okay, they're not allowed. This is off the record. Someone once said, "You'll have to take me toes up," meaning like carry me out. So, but I don't want to do that. So. Okay.
That makes sense. I mean, like, if you do love your job that much, like, obviously you're not going to want to do it by choice.
Yeah, I love, you know what's funny? I like the Zooming. I really do. I mean, I like Zooming better than I like talking to you with looking at you in the mask today. If my wife knew I took the mask off, she'd kill me. But
I never take off my mask.
no,
Right now I'm quarantined, so.
He was 10 feet away from me, and we have plexiglass between us. So. And
Either way, I don't get to come back till Thursday because I'm still quarantined.
Oh, you're in the quarantine group.
Yeah, Mr. Mac's room got under quarantine because the kid had COVID. So yeah. It was my class.
Did he have COVID, or was it just you were exposed?
No, the kid in my class had COVID, and then they called us. Well, I didn't get a call. I had to call the school and ask them if I was under quarantine.
Do they have your right number?
They do, but I don't know why they didn't call me. I don't know if it was by accident or something, or if it was my phone.
The only people I know that didn't get calls, when I look on the computer, if the number's wrong. That's how I see it. You know, I've been able, I don't think I have that computer on. I can't fix that. No, my computer's not on. I can't fix that. But if we need to look, you can ask me tomorrow or the next day, just come by and I'll look and see. Or ask anybody, is your phone number right on the computer? Because sometimes.
No, yeah, because.
Go ahead.
The only reason I found out was because I have a lot of friends in the class, and a lot of them were telling me, they're like, "Oh, we all got a call," and I was like, "I didn't get one, not now," because I was out. I had gone to take pictures for multimedia for the Panther at the Red Rooster, and then the next day I called because it was the Wednesday we didn't have school, I think. So then I called them they didn't answer. So then I called them on Thursday, and they told me the same thing. That they thought they called me.
The school's really empty when you walk in. It's really like I don't know what lunch you guys have, but first lunch is like really empty. It's like it's not even like a lunch. And then I'm looking,
Oh, I don't know.
if you want, I'm checking. It take me 2 minutes to check.
The parking lot is really empty too. You don't even have to like get there early. It's great.
I know. And that is the only positive thing about this whole thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I hated the parking lot with a passion last year. It was
Let me
not
see.
fun.
Let me make sure your number's right, because
It is right. I don't know who answered, but they checked in because they also thought my number was wrong. And I had told them like, okay, well I could fix it because I know I did the paperwork for my parents because my parents don't know English.
right.
So I had to like, so of course I'm the only one that knows English in the house. So I was like, I had to ask them to like
What's your ID number? Let me look.
0254156.
The number the computer calls is 666-5027.
0566650. Yeah, that's my number.
Okay. And then the other number it would call would be your parents' first number. It's still come under 5207. Then you said your dad is 305-721-6403.
403. Yeah.
Okay, so they are right. I don't know why it didn't happen. That's weird.
Yeah, because I even grabbed my parents' phones and I was like, maybe you guys just didn't answer. And I checked and
Because I know, well, the seniors, I know Miss Dwyer called them all. I know she called most of them. So
I think all seniors are under quarantine right now, except a couple. They're
how
on the
about the ones
cafeteria now.
who were exposed like you that weren't able to take the SAT? The last time
Yeah,
they
they
could
were.
make it too. I mean, they really got, and that they didn't even do anything wrong and they couldn't take the test.
Yeah, especially after like studying after like all the. I already have one under here. I have an SAT prep book for it, and I was like, thank God I'm not a senior or junior. 'Cause
I'll
that
tell you,
even-
by the way, Khan Academy is so much better than those books.
I just had it because my sister gave it to me. I didn't
Probably
know.
never used it.
I used it once and I got
No,
bored.
her.
So
She probably never used it.
she did. I just studied a lot. She studies a lot more than I do. I'm the person that takes a test, gets in like a good grade, and I just pass. She's the type of person that gets nervous and doesn't pass.
And she worked
When
hard.
she's
She's a hard
she
worker.
works hard for it. I just do. I'm better at time management than her, but at the same time I get a lot since I have a lot of things to do. I get not stressed, but like I get very. I just fill too much things in my calendar for me to do.
No, I understand that. But if you're good with time, you should take the ACT, by the way.
Yeah, I have to do that too. I just have to sign up for a lot of things.
Anything else you want to know? Thank you for doing. Is this going to come out in the newspaper? Is that what it's going? That's what they're going to do with it?
Yeah, like it's gonna come out on. I have no idea. 3 days from now, if I'm gonna.
Okay. I was telling
have
Samantha
it.
today that last digital issue I thought was like off the charts, fantastic. I love that. I thought that was awesome. I'm going to stop recording.